21 before they have to come in to the pits. We're at the Molson Indy Montreal 2002. It's the inaugural race here on the Ile de Notre Dame. Let's do some research on the first lap incident. Jan Beekes, we're on board with Paul Tracy.
The first time I didn't see any contact, but during the break we had a chance to look at it, and sure enough, Kenny Breck is right on the money. Paul Tracy did give a slight tap to the back of Tagliani. That wasn't Tagliani's fault. Good call for Kenny Breck. And so that was a case of the sandwich with a little extra meat there from Paul Tracy.
Meantime, 19 laps are concluded. 2 laps to go to the maximum pit window of 21. Franchitti leads Patrick Carpentier by 2.3 and 4 seconds back to Junqueira, 5.7 back to Vassar, 6.5 back to Paul Tracy. All of them have to come in for a pit stop in the next couple of laps, as does Fittipaldi, Nakano, and Dixon. Adrian Fernandez is in a little different position because he's been in the pit since the start of the race, and he probably is going to assume the lead of this event before too very long.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is that Adrian Fernandez is going to get to lead for 1 lap, then Michel Jourdain will get to lead for a lap, and then everything will start getting back into sequence. And that's what happens if you can't get the car stopped. Just go ahead and don't pound over the curbs. Take the shortcut. Now, there's no penalty there as long as he doesn't improve his lap time, and he certainly didn't gain time there. He lost it.
So Alex Tagliani gets offline for the 2nd time in the event. Earlier on, it was a bold move at the hairpin against Jimmy Vassar, and he went straight through the corner, gathered the car up, and was able to continue, albeit at the end of the pack. And this time, he just missed the corner, went through the runoff area. Now he's slowing down.
Yeah, he's you know what, he's definitely got a problem.
Yep. More than just missing the corner, perhaps. We'll keep a close eye on Alex Tagliani as he gets the throttle to pick up once again and head back down the straightaway. This is coming toward the pits. Will he stay to driver's left and come into pits? We're about to know. And now he's going to go through the corner and stay on the straightaway, so he's going to continue out there as he passes the start-finish line. He is running in the 15th spot, and that took him a minute and a half to get around that time.
Okay, now all the tires are getting set out on pit road. We're going to see a flurry of pit stops as we approach lap 21. And there could, you know, if you can save a little bit of time here, there's a potential for picking up a position or two. And boy, these guys, I mean, they've been practicing all morning. I was down in the morning warm-up, and the crews practice over and over and over. Trying to shave just a 1/10 of a second on a pit stop can make the difference.
When they get there, it will be the end of lap number 21, taking this run out to its maximum for the top 8 in the field. All of them have to come in here in the next few seconds. Dario Franchitti will lead the way as he decelerates. He's now on pit road down to 50 miles an hour. The standard speed limit for a kart event through this season, and they all approach. There's Patrick Carpentier and Bruno Junqueira as they find their pit stalls and tuck in. Franchitti's already getting service. Just 1 pit stall up. That's Patrick Carpentier. Junqueira's gone by.
Now you'll see Vassar at the back. He'll be done first.
Don Martin has one.
Paul Tracy's in for the quick stop. They top up the fuel when he's gone. Pit stop in the 10-second range means they got probably a full load of fuel for him. Chris?
Paul Tracy getting out ahead of Jimmy Vassar there as they left the pits. Fernandez, meantime, who did stay on the course, is the race leader, followed by Michael Andretti, Jourdain, D'Amata, and Takagi, the top 5. Then Tony Kanaan. Dario Franchitti came out in 7th position. Carpentier behind him, then Junqueira as it's listed at the moment, then Tracy, then Vassar, and down the list, Nakano and Dixon, Fittipaldi, and Tagliani to round out all of those still running in the event. And the top 5 in this event, or top 6 actually, are out of pit sequence with Dario Franchitti in this group that just did now pit.
Now, you're talking about Adrian Fernandez, and we talked at the opening of the show about the pain that he's in. He said what's really hurting him on this racetrack is that you have to pound the curbs. The only way to go fast is you have to bound over the top of the curbs in the chicanes. He says, every single time I do it, I'm just, ouch, ouch, and it just kills him, he says.
Todd Lewis standing by.
Carpentier's pit, the Quebec connection trying to come through here. Of course, Patrick Carpentier and his race engineer, Michael Cannon, who happens to be from Montreal. Good, smooth first stop. No changes. Patrick very happy. And this race does seem to be coming to, at least in the early going, this crew is very quiet so far.
So 2 jump out of line, and Jourdain moves to the front as Adrian Fernandez and Michael Andretti, as you expected, Jan, do go into the pit. So Jourdain is leading it. Cristiano Damata is now in the second position in the race. Now, when he gets to the front, he's going to have about a half a load of fuel left and some laps to work with and a fairly clear track in front of him. Do you suppose the object of the exercise is an attempt to run off and get more than a pit stop ahead of everybody and save that fourth pit stop that they've now dealt themselves in their hand for this afternoon?
Well, they'll try, but I don't think there's enough time for that because you have to gain 25 seconds plus the length of the pit stop. So at a 10-second pit stop, you would have to pull out a 35-second gap to be able to pit in the lead and come back out. He doesn't have enough time for that.
I wanted to hear the arithmetic. It was a somewhat rhetorical question, but I thought we had to at least cover that ground in anticipation of what might be attempted here in the next few moments. Meantime, Jourdain continues to lead the pack around. Carpentier and Franchitti have moved up a couple of spots, as has everyone else, with Adrian Fernandez and Michael Andretti having made those pit stops. So the shuffle is still underway, and it will remain unabated pretty much through the rest of the race because so many are out of sequence. Here comes Michel Jourdain. So he gives up the front spot, and the race leader once again is Cristiano Damata on lap number 23 of the 80 scheduled for this event. Let's go on an Andretti update with Don Martin.
They were a little concerned, Michael was, his handling of the car under heavy braking. You know, Michael is an especially heavy braker. They adjusted the wing, tried to help him out a little bit to improve the handling, Chris.
Okay, Michael continues to work with the car. He had a diabolical first couple of turns around the course when he had what appeared to be a display problem on the wheel and then the flat tire. But now he's fought his way into some semblance of race trim and is starting to fight for some points in this event here in Montreal. Cristiano Damata has gone back to the front, followed by Takagi, Kanaan, Franchitti, and Carpentier. Some of them still have to pit.
Welcome back to the Molson Indy Montreal at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Alex Tagliani, who had such high hopes along with his player's teammate Patrick Carpentier, continues to have his difficulties. Talked with team manager Neil Mickelwright just a second ago. In addition to gearbox problems that Alex Tagliani is experiencing, the team also can't communicate with him now via the radio. They're having difficulties. They're going to the old-fashioned sign method. This is not a good day so far for Alex Tagliani.
Alex Tagliani currently running in 15th spot, the last spot among those that are still active in the event, trying to chase down Michael Andretti if indeed he can. Last trip around for the leader, Cristiano Damata, was 1:20.9 seconds. He's 2.2 ahead of Takagi, 8.8 against Dario Franchitti, who would be his most serious contender behind him in fourth position at the moment, although they are on different pit strategies now. Patrick Carpentier listed in 5th position in the event.
Now, if you watch the interval on the upper left and you watch the time that we had on the previous graphic, you would see that you'd have to go all the way down to Tagliani. In other words, if Damata were to pit now, he would drop all the way to the back. So he has to make up a ton of ground if they think they don't want to lose track position after his next stop.
He's just put another lap down at 1:20.8 as he comes up on his second pit stop. That's not too far away. We're working leader lap number 26, the 26th lap of the race for everybody that is still active in the event. And he's going to have to stop, I believe it's on 33, when he has to come back in, and that will shuffle some other folks to the front. Takagi and Kanaan will have to come in at the same time. Franchitti and Carpentier will go back to P1 and P2 at that point.
Well, it does make it interesting. I mean, you've got the fastest guy on the racetrack off of the strategy, a strategy that we're still scratching our head why they're using. But, you know, at least it is going to be interesting because he'll take the lead, he'll give it up, he'll take the lead, he'll give it up. And the only thing that might change it is an opportune full course caution at a perfect time. But even that's not going to save him.
Toru Takagi running in the second position. Another of those in the field that have had experience on this track. He ran F1 here, as did Nakano and Michael Andretti and Christian Fittipaldi. Takagi had a points finish in this event, but then was relieved of that points finish some years back as a result of a rules violation. But he had some success on this course. That last, as you mentioned to us a couple of times as we discussed this issue over the weekend, having been here before gives you an advantage that lasts about an hour on Friday, and then everybody's caught up to you anyway.
No, that's true. But you know what? He has known as a guy who is good on the brakes. So this is a good track for him.
Patrick Carpentier slow on the course.
At first I thought it was Tagliani because we know Tagliani had gearbox trouble, but this is bad news for the hometown favorite.
He's nearly drifted to a stop as Carpentier comes into the pits trying to get to his pit stall. A quick look at the car. We don't see anything in terms of external damage, a flat tire or wing damage or any indication of contact anywhere. We have no report of any such thing either as he gets toward the pit stall. His crew running out to meet him. Just no power. That's the preliminary report. That was fairly evident. We'll have to wait and see if we can define that a little further. So Patrick Carpentier drops out of line. That moves Junqueira up to 5th. Everybody else filters forward. And all of a sudden, it is a diabolical day for the team players.
They're bringing the starter. Certainly, you couldn't have just killed it. They're going to fire it up and listen to it and see if... oh, you know what? The first thing that came off was the steering wheel. They fired it up and said, nope, that baby is hurt.
That's it. So Patrick Carpentier, with such a promising day going, has retired, waiting for a chance to get back into the 2nd position in this race. Well qualified, a good warm-up, a big fan base. Everything was unfolding just beautifully, and suddenly, boom, it is gone in a minute. Cristiano D'Amata still on course, approaching the 2nd pit stop. That'll be in a few moments. Paul Tracy up to 6th position now. He's being chased hard by Jimmy Vasser. There was a brief exchange of an accusation explanation, I think, down there, because Tracy and Vasser came out of the pits very close to each other. Did he cut him off? Didn't he cut him off? Well, card officials said no, everything was clean. Go move on, gentlemen, and drive your race cars. Patrick Carpentier, dejected to be sure, moving away from his disabled race car out of the event in Montreal. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Welcome back to Montreal. A disappointing day for Patrick Carpentier. He is out far too early in this race. Better news here in the pits of Tony Kanaan, who's improved some 10 spots, qualified 13th, now running 3rd. He had an understeer problem all weekend. They didn't fix it until final warm-up laps this morning. They inserted new springs. That understeer problem not a factor as Tony Kanaan currently running 3rd.
Yeah, well, Don, you know, the only problem is the reason he's running 3rd is he's on the same strategy as Cristiano D'Amata and Tora Takagi as far as when they pitted. So, unfortunately, in 3 laps, he'll be giving up all those positions.
D'Amata, Takagi, and Kanaan are on that schedule, and when that occurs in a few moments' time, Dario Franchitti, we expect, will shuffle to the front. He has a 9-second edge over Bruno Junqueira, and those two in 4th and 5th at the moment are on the same strategy, as is 6th place Paul Tracy, 7th place Jimmy Vasser, Nakano in 8th, and Scott Dixon in 9th. Michel Jourdain has a little further to go, running in 10th before he has to come back into the pits. So the top 3 in this race at the moment are going to have to step aside and get service in the pits by rule in 2 laps from now. The last lap for the leader, Cristiano D'Amata, is 1:20. Kanaan just ran a 1:21. And the face tells the entire story for Patrick Carpentier. What could have been in the sunshine of Montreal.
You know, I've been in that position before. I mean, not like this, but at a home racetrack where there's so much expectation. And you know what you feel? You feel as though you've let him down. I mean, I had the same situation. My car broke. It's nothing he did. But you're just sitting there, you see all the fans in the stands, you know, they came here to see you, and you're like, man, I let all these people down. Of course you didn't, but that's what it feels like.
Difficult moment, no question about it. So now we just wait for the pit stops here and see what unfolds in terms of the pit strategy over the next few moments. Cristiano D'Amata right now is, I would say, probably he's going to drop. He might stay in the top 10 through the course of this pit stop if everything goes just right with his team, which normally it does. But he's got 39 seconds back to the 10th place Michel Jourdain in the order, so that may be where he comes out when he finishes his pit service in a moment.
Which obviously he'll be, you know, if he does that every time, if he picks up a few here and there, you know, he'll be back in contention. But it would have been nice if he would have stayed out front, but actually it's good. It's better this way because now we get to see him try and work his way through and pick off a few on each one of these pit sequences.
1 lap to go, and he's going to have to do it, and the tires are coming over the wall for those 3 teams that are required to make a stop here in just a couple of moments. Incidentally, Alex Tagliani